A little bit of a different feel with this week's edition of Coach's Corner. In the past, we normally talk to local and tri-state area coaches, but for this episode, we're shaking it up a little bit. We were pleased to be joined this week by senior quarterback, I probably should rephrase that, senior all-around Huntington Highlander player for Coach Billy Seals and Clemson commit, Mr. Tayveon Wilson. Tayveon, welcome to the program.
Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Well, my man, you guys have had a great start to your season. Let's kind of start with your team before we work our way in some. Obviously, a fantastic start to the season. Only one loss at this point, which came back in week one. Kind of give me the vibe that you're picking up with this year's group. What's it been like since that week one loss, and what stands out?
I feel like we keep getting better as we go. Week one, we got our butts kicked. Not a good running game, not good passing game. Then the next couple weeks, we had like 400 rushing yards in one game, starting to pass the ball a little bit better. So I feel like as we get rolling, we get better.
Obviously, I mentioned how you're a quarterback, but also you're an all-around guy. Kind of walk me through that transition. Obviously, you were primarily a tight end last year, but you were also kind of a guy that was just plug and play, just a Swiss Army knife in a sense. What's the adjustment been like for you moving into that quarterback position this year?
It was a little hard during the summer, but I have good quarterback coaches and offensive coordinator. They help me adjust. They don't make the plays super hard. They're easy to read and understand. So I feel like the plays and the coaching staff really helped me develop into a quarterback.
You mentioned during the summer how hard that was. When you started picking up on what you were doing wrong, was it more of word of mouth, meaning they were telling you what you need to do differently, or was it more you kind of looking at what you were doing on film and saying, okay, I need to do this better?
What they were telling me to do, I wasn't very good with my reads at first during 7-on-7, but 7-on-7 actually did help a lot, seeing everybody drop back into coverage, don't have to worry about the run. It makes it a lot easier in the games because they're worried about the run in the games and not as much as the pass during 7-on-7. So.
You've had a lot of success here at Huntington. You've been a part of a lot of great teams here at Huntington as well. What stands out to you about this year's group compared to other teams you've been a part of?
I feel like we have more heart than the previous groups. We care more about winning. The last couple groups, don't get me wrong, they wanted to win, but I feel like I see more of a team on this team.
What's allowed you guys to, along that line, what's allowed you guys to kind of form that unity, kind of form that brotherhood in a sense, as many athletes say? What's allowed you guys to form that and kind of carry that over throughout the course of the season?
I feel like seeing the past teams and seeing how they were a little bit lax or nonchalant about winning and seeing it, because they won the state championship, so they thought it was going to come easy. But some of these guys haven't won. My senior class is the last class that won the state championship. So just them seeing how the past years have gone and how it's ended, they want to make a difference. They don't want that to happen again.
Talk to me about just the difference in this group from week one to now. I know you mentioned some of the stats there following that week one loss, but just what stood out to you about that response? Because obviously, as you know, you go and play down a state team, you could easily hang your head and you can just be like, okay, we're just going to see how this kind of goes from there, drift off maybe. But what's that response been like to you, seeing these guys respond as a senior?
I feel like our young guys really stepped up after that week. Our two great running backs, the Okonkwo brothers and Dante Newsome, he's a junior, but I feel like they've stepped up a lot. They got used to the feel of the game very quickly, and they've stepped up.
In regards to what this team needs to do to continue to ride this momentum moving forward, I know you guys still want to try and fight for some home field advantage come playoff time, but what's it going to take for this team to continue to ride the momentum leading into the latter half of the season, even into the playoffs?
I think we just can't look over any opponents at all, whether that be GW, a team from Tennessee, or Lindsley. We just can't look over anybody, and we have to stay focused on one game at a time.
Who's been a guy, in your opinion, that's really stood out? You mentioned a couple of guys there with Newsome and the Okonkwo brothers, but who's been a guy or two in your mind that's made that jump? I know I'm going to kind of put your Coach Seals hat on there for a second, but just who's been a couple of guys that stood out to you?
The Okonkwo brothers, for sure. They're only sophomores, but I already mentioned them, so I'll go with Andreas Reese. He didn't play that much last year, but he's starting role this year, probably receiver number one, so I feel like he stepped up a lot.
How important is it to kind of have a really good offensive line in front of you being quarterback?
That helps a lot. Sometimes I can take naps in the pocket. Other time I just want to run, so I feel like running. So yeah, it takes a lot of pressure off of me when I have to find my receivers.
You mentioned Andreas Reese, and I know you guys had a great game against Capital just a couple of weeks ago. Whenever you rolled out of the pocket to the left and you kind of threw across your body there. What's that connection like between the two of you? How has that kind of grown, and where's it at now?
I don't want to tell his personal business, but I take him home every day. So I feel like he, on the ride home, he'd be like, "Hey, throw me the ball." But I feel like our connection just comes naturally.
Now, when you guys get in the car together, who normally has aux?
I do, since I'm driving.
Okay, good. What do we got? What do we got playing on the car ride home?
I'm a big Gunna fan.
You like Gunna?
Mainly Gunna.
Who do you think won that Drake Kendrick beef last year? It's okay. There's no wrong answers.
I like Drake better, but Kendrick probably won.
I got you.
And he got to perform at the Super Bowl, so I feel like.
You think you got the upper hand with that?
Yeah.
Now, are you a Drake fan?
Yeah.
Do you like old or new Drake?
I like a little bit. I really don't know. I like older better. Yeah.
I was gonna say that seems like to be like the toughest question I've asked you. Old or new Drake?
Yeah, I had to think for that one.
So, kind of talking about just going back to your game back on the field, being the quarterback, what goes into just learning how to become more of a better quarterback? Are you watching what you're doing from a statistical perspective? Are you looking more at, how a play develops in that point of view? What goes into being a good quarterback?
Looking how the play develops according to the defense, recognizing coverages and stuff like that just really helps it become easy. So, because once you can recognize the coverages, you know which guys will be open.
Do you like throwing or passing? I mean, do you like throwing or running better?
It really depends on down and distance for me. I know that sounds like, but
makes sense.
If it's 3rd and 2, I'd rather just keep the ball in my hands and go run for the first down. But 1st and 10, I'll sling it, get a first down.
I mentioned before how you're kind of like an all-around guy. Swiss Army knife is probably the appropriate way of saying that. But whenever you're able to be very diverse as a football player, you can be plugged and played in just about anywhere. I know you punted a couple of times throughout your career, but you've also been thrown a lot of different responsibilities with that. What goes into just being an all-around athlete, but an all-around football player?
You have to pay attention at practice. You have to be better in between the ears than you are actually doing the actions. So I feel like the mental aspect of the game is the most important when it comes to playing multiple positions.
You talked about being a leader there early on. How has that kind of grown and developed? I know as a senior, it's not really thrown at you per se, but you kind of have to embody being that senior leader, being the guy that those younger guys look to. What goes into that to you? How much pride do you take being a leader for this team?
I take a lot of pride in that because the younger guys, it's their first year up here. They're looking for someone to look up to, and I'm the quarterback and I'm a senior, so most of the offensive guys automatically goes to me. And on defense, Bryce Wingfield, our middle linebacker, he's a senior. The defense looks up to him. So I feel like me and him really have two of the most important roles when it comes to being leaders, and I take a lot of pride in that.
Now, as much as you are a signal caller on the offensive side, you're also on the defensive side of the football. So kind of going back to my question a couple questions ago, what's that like for you, being diverse, being able to play both sides of the football as well?
A lot of conditioning and practice will help with that. And like I said earlier, you have to be better mentally. I don't know about better, but you have to be really good mentally because you have to call plays on offense, know where your receivers are. Then you also have to call the coverages on defense and know where your DBs are.
What goes into being mentally sharp in your opinion?
Watching film and looking at the playbook. Also, listening to your coaches helps a lot. Some people tend to not do that. I don't know why, but listening to your coaches is the key.
What do you like about this coaching group? I mean, this is a group that's, one, very experienced, but two, they just being up here and coming to practice a lot of times, we kind of see firsthand from a media perspective how much they do care. Kind of talk about these coaches and what they've meant to you throughout your journey.
Well, I've been with them for 4 years, and a lot of them actually teach in our school, so I see them every day for at least 3+ hours. So it really helps build connections when I see them in the hallway and say, what's up, coach? What are we doing today in practice? Or if my offensive coordinator tells me to get on huddle during lunch and look at the plays. So I feel like that helps a lot.
It probably also helps whenever it's probably a good day as well whenever you don't get called into Coach Seals' office, probably.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, I got to ask. We were talking before we started doing this about aura and stuff like that. Does Coach Seals have any aura to you?
I feel like he has kind of a scary type of aura.
Like a villain arc almost?
Almost, yeah. Whenever he gets mad, you can see like fumes coming out of his head, that type of aura.
So a villain. So what villain do you think he would be like best resemble?
What villain would he be?
Yeah.
I don't want to say the Joker. I'll give him Thanos.
I was thinking that exact same thing.
Yep.
I was thinking that. It's coincidental, I think. But no, so let's ask another aura question. Who has the most aura on the team?
On the team, well, obviously.
You can't say yourself.
Okay, I was about to say, obviously, besides myself, I feel like, who would it be? Dante Newsome. I feel like he has some aura.
Who's the funniest on the team?
Funniest? I'll give that to Ethan Dalton, number 5.
Who's the guy that kind of rallies everybody together?
Wingfield, number 4, Bryce Wingfield.
Who's the guy that nobody's talking the most about that should be?
Aaron McPherson.
Why?
He's in the line. He's in the mud battles. He moves the defensive line pretty well for me and the Okonkwo brothers when we're back there. So I feel like some eyes should start going on him.
If you could describe this group in 1 word or 2 words, what words would those be?
Heart.
What separates the heart from just the overall grit with this team?
Like I mentioned earlier, I feel like we just have more heart than the previous teams. We care more. I don't want to say more than they did, but we care a lot. We care a lot.
Do you have a funny Billy Seal story? One that you could tell on camera?
Yes. Okay. All right. So last year, me and Za Jackson, you know Za, we were talking after practice, and we saw Coach Seals tweeted something, and it was a coach who said, "You can't make the club in the tub." And Coach Seals reposted that and said, "I say this all the time." And me and Za were thinking, Coach Seals has never said this a day in his life. So that was kind of the laughingstock of practice for the next couple weeks. Me and Za just kept saying that, and Coach Seals was confused, but it was funny. That was funny.
Let's go back to this team real quick before we end with a couple more questions about your future. For this team to compete for a state title, but also be able to win a state title, what's it going to take for this group?
We have to limit the little mistakes. I feel like that's kind of cliche. You could say that about every game, but I feel like if we do eliminate those mistakes, then we can win.
In regards to just keeping everybody together, I know we've talked a lot about just being closely knit and wanting to do what's best for each other, but trying to keep this group together down the stretch and even into the playoffs, what's it going to take for everybody to kind of stay together and stay united?
I feel like seniors need to step up as leaders. We just have to direct some of these young guys that are playing because they haven't been in these situations before. We're the old guys and we know what it's like, so we just have to help them get through it.
Let's end this conversation just talking a little bit about your future, because you got a fantastic future ahead of you that's very bright. Talk to us about Clemson. Obviously, you committed just a couple of months ago, but now we're entering the second half of the season. Are you still going to sign with Clemson?
Yes.
When do you intend to do so? Are you going to kind of do that in the early signing period or in the spring?
I'll probably sign in December, but I won't enroll into Clemson until the summer.
Because you're going to play winter and spring sports for Huntington?
Yes.
So why choose that? Because a lot of guys would choose to go and get into the program early. I know there's a couple guys locally that are doing that. But just why did you want to go and spend the rest of your high school career here at Huntington?
Where my season was limited last year and I didn't get to play basketball or baseball, this is really my last opportunity to ever play those sports competitively, and I feel like that's something special that I need to. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
That I need. I can't think.
Almost like you're achieving it. You want to achieve something. Yeah,
yes.
I got you. So, and then finally, kind of take me back to Clemson. What stood out to you whenever you're going throughout the recruiting process about the Clemson Tigers?
Really how close the coaching staff gets with you. Other coaches, they send the graphic and then they disappear for a week. But with my coaches there, we talk on the phone consistently. And when we get there, we talk with them consistently and we spend a lot of time with them.
Well, Tayveon, good luck the rest of the way this season. Good luck in regards to just the second half of the season leading into the playoffs, because it seems like you guys have solidified that spot. So good luck with that, and hopefully we get to see you guys down in Charleston in December.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. That's Tayveon Wilson, all-around athlete for the Huntington Highlanders. Be sure to check out our high school coverage from now until the end of the high school football season in Charleston by going to our website, wvgazettemail.com. Follow us on Twitter at GazMailSports, that's G-A-Z Mail Sports, and be sure to follow us on Facebook at HD Media Sports.